Hi everyone, hope you're all doing good, and today I'm going to be doing a CD update, and in this update I'm going to be showing the contest winnings that I got from Dave about a month ago, and also I'm going to be showing stuff that I got in a recent VCLT from Simon PieFace. Yeah, another VCLT from him, just in case people did not see the community post that I put out about a month ago showing the stuff. It's mostly death metal and thrash metal. There's a little bit of black metal in there as well, and yeah, for the most part of what Simon sent me I didn't know it, so it's a nice learning curve to learn about some of these bands. So yeah, we've got quite a lot to get through. Side note, I hope Simon watches this, and I hope Simon's doing alright, because I saw his community post a couple of weeks ago to say that his dad passed away. So I'm sure everyone else watching this, same as me, is just hoping that he's doing alright. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this video, and hopefully you'll find some new bands to want to check out. Let's get straight into it. Okay, I'm going to start with the stuff that Dave sent me for his contest winnings. There's two things here that were the main prize, let's say, and then he sent me a load of other stuff just because Dave's a cool guy. Definitely go check out Dave's channel if you don't know it. So yeah, let's start off with the first thing, and the first thing he sent me is an actual vinyl, which is I've never got before, and it is this Godflesh Songs of Love and Hate, and this come out in 1996. It's their fourth album through Earache Records, and I didn't really know a lot about Godflesh. I looked them up, and they're a UK industrial metal band. That's what they're mostly known for, and I know that Dave told me to give this a couple of goes and it'll grow on me, but to be honest, it's just not for me. I'm not a massive fan of industrial stuff, and you know, to be honest, yeah, when I heard it, I just didn't feel like it was something that I was gonna like, to be honest. There were a couple of tracks that I did like, Angel Domain and Time Death and Frail as well. I thought those were pretty good songs, but the rest of it just wasn't my thing, unfortunately. However, I am gonna let Johnny Mac have this, because he told me that if it wasn't for me, that he'd gladly have it, and I'm more than happy for him to have it. So hopefully, Dave, you're alright with me sending it to Johnny Mac. Yeah. So that's the first one. I'll just put that down there. The second one is black metal album Hulder, and the album name is called God Slatering Hymns of a Fallen Peasantry, and this is the debut album by this band. They're a US black metal band, and they've only had 2 albums out. This is the first one, and the second one came out earlier on this year. And I thought they were going to be a bit more of like a melodic black metal, but they're not really. They're more of like the old school Norwegian style. The band that I thought of that they sounded most like was Satyricon, which is cool. I liked most of this album. However, it's just a little bit too much on the keyboard side for me. There's a couple of tracks that were very keyboardy and kind of just took me out of it a little bit. But that's just me. That's just my personal preference. My black metal taste is very very fine, let's say. I either like it or I don't. So I didn't hate it, but wasn't the best black metal that I've ever heard, but there were songs on it that I did like. The next one that he sent me was this Obituary Anthology, and this come out in 2001, and it's pretty much a comp of all their songs from the first 5 albums on Roadrunner, and there's a track listing there. The focuses. Yeah. So yeah, you got tracks like Till Death, Internal Bleeding, Intoxicated, Cause of Death, Dying, Chopped in Half, Back to One, The Incomplete. And to be honest, I hadn't actually listened to World Demise and Back from the Dead, so it was cool to listen to some of those tracks for the first time. However, to be honest, like compared to the other songs on the album, they didn't really grab me too much. I didn't think they were quite as good as the other tracks, but this is a really cool comp to have, say in the car or whatever, going on a journey. You want to listen to some of the best Obituary songs, this has got you covered, so yeah, really cool. The next one he sent me is At the Gates with Fear, I Kiss the Burning Darkness. And this is their second album that come out on Peaceville. I thought it was their debut album, but I was wrong. To be honest, this sounded a lot more melodic death metal than I thought it was going to be. For some reason I thought it was going to be a little bit more traditional sounding death metal, but yeah, there was a lot more melodic death metal sound in there than I was expecting. But that wasn't really a problem for me because I like melodic death metal, and I ended up really enjoying this album. There's some really, really good tracks on here, like Beyond Good and Evil, Non-Divine, The Architects, Star Drowned, Ever Opening Flower, that's a great song. And even the last song's got a Hidden Discharge cover, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed that album. Really want to get some more At the Gates because that's the only one I've got so far. And the last one that Dave sent me was this, Illdisposed, 1-800 Vindication. This is their 6th album on Roadrunner, and yeah, this band are a Danish melodic death metal band. I know they started off with their earlier albums in the 90s as more of a traditional death metal band, and then they changed it up to go a little bit more, probably commercial, but more melodic death metal. And as soon as I heard this, the first thing that came to me was that early In Flames sound, like Colony, and those type of albums. That hit me straight away, and I thought, oh yeah, I love this because I love Colony. And yeah, it's definitely got that In Flames sound. They use a lot of keyboards, and it's quite heavily produced, which doesn't really put me off that much, to be honest. It's a great album, a really good listen. And to be honest, I think I've heard this one the most out of all that I'm going to show today. Yeah, one of my favourites, definitely. I really enjoyed it. Some really good stuff on it. So yeah, if you're into your In Flames sounding melodic death metal, check that one out. Next up, I'm going to go through all the stuff that Simon sent me, as I showed in the community tab about a month ago. And yeah, it was a lot of stuff to get through, and as I said, the majority of these bands I did not know, so it's taken me quite a long time to get through all of these, and most of these are going to be like first or second impressions really, that I just haven't had enough time with them yet. But yeah, I'm going to go through the slightly lesser known bands first, and then the more well known ones I'm going to put towards the end. So yeah, the first one, and this one was actually sealed, Debauchery will Continue to Kill, come out in 2008, and this was their 5th album. And this band are on the Metal Archives known as a death and roll band, and I definitely got that from listening to this album. It reminded me a little bit of that kind of 6 Feet Under kind of thing. Very groovy at times, but then there's also songs that kind of sounded more like that death and roll, the hard rock sounding riff with the death metal vocals, which is a bit weird. But yeah, when they do like full-on death metal, it sounded really cool, very groovy, like bolt thrower kind of style. Yeah, really good. The first couple of songs, Blood God Rising, Continue to Kill, Faith and Fire, really, really good. They do a great cover of Angel of Death as well on here, which is really cool. But then they do like some weird stuff, like Hard Rocking. That song basically sounds like AC/DC. Weird. There's a song where he was just dissing all his haters, like something stupid like what Chris Barnes would do with 6 Feet Under. Yeah, a bit of a half and half album really. It's alright. It's alright. There's some really good stuff on it, some weird stuff on it. But yeah, if you like your death and roll, give it a try. Next one is, and I did actually know this band, but I hadn't listened to them, Skeletonwitch, and this is Beyond the Permafrost. This is their second album on Prosthetic, and this band are an American melodic death / thrash metal band. They've had 6 albums out, and this is really, really cool. It's pretty fast and frantic. A lot of the songs are not even 3 minutes long. There's quite a lot of black metal undertones on the album, either in the vocals or in the guitars, the trem picking and stuff. But for the most part, it's like melodic thrash with some melodic death in there as well. Death metal style vocals. Really, really good stuff. If you like your Fast and Furious stuff with a bit of an extreme metal edge, that would be cool. Next up is Crimson Death, and this is Flesh Dance from 2012. This is their debut album, and they only done 2 albums, so yeah. And this is on Metal Archives, they're known as a death metal band, but to me it sounds like quite thrashy death metal, and also so did Simon, because I remember he put a little note there, says decent death thrash, and that is exactly what this is really. He absolutely nailed it. It's that kind of thrashy style of death metal vocals, of course. I think this is a good album, but I've just not listened to it enough. But yeah, if you like that sort of thrashy sounding death metal, you'd like this. The only thing with this is that on the back, the track listing is wrong. Track 5 and 6 were the other way round, but that's not really anything too bad there. Next up, we've got a grindcore band called Manos, and this is called Genocide, this album. This is their 4th album. It came out in 2007. And yeah, this band are like a German death metal, grindcore, punky kind of sounding band. They've had 5 albums out. And yeah, the way I can describe this is very weird sounding grindcore. Very, very strange. I didn't hate it, but I didn't really enjoy it as well. I think it's something that it might take a bit of time, or I might not go back to it that much. It kind of had a little bit of like an early Carcass, Napalm Death kind of vibe. I mean, that album artwork kind of looks like a Napalm Death kind of thing. But yeah, I did enjoy the last couple of tracks. They kind of sounded a little bit more kind of hardcore-y, which was cool. And the outro song I really liked because it was basically like classical guitar, which was quite cool. But yeah, it's basically like grindcore. If you like grindcore, then that's cool. Okay, the last of the least known bands is this one, Bloodrocuted, this is called, and the album's called Disaster Strikes Back from 2015. This is their 2nd album, and this band are Belgian, and they play thrash metal, but more of the like extreme sounding thrash. Again, they've only had 3 albums out, and yeah, this is their middle one. It's got that modern sounding thrash, the little bits of like death metal in there. Definitely death metal in the vocals. He sounds a little bit like modern day Tardy at times. So yeah, if you like your modern thrash like Havoc, Shrapnel, Warbringer, and then like your old school like extreme sounding thrash like Slayer and bands like that, I think you quite like this. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, but again, need to spin it more. So next up are a little bit more well-known bands, or especially in the underground metal scene, they're more well-known. Especially this one, a pioneer for the black metal scene, and that is Bathory, and the album is Blood, Fire, Death. And this is their 4th album from 1988. And yeah, everyone knows this is a Swedish early black metal band with the Viking sound. But this album, to me, sounded very thrashy for the most part. Like the middle tracks were very, very much thrash metal to me with black metal vocals. The opener and the last songs were a bit more in that kind of Viking style, more slower and more grandiose sounding songs, which wasn't quite my thing, but the rest of it I thought was really, really great. And Simon put a nice little note there, say that this is his favourite. This is his favourite Bathory album, which is cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I've really been starting to get into Bathory a bit more. I listened to the one before this, Under the Sign of the Black Mark, and I thought that was really good. So I was really happy to get this because I haven't got any Bathory in my collection. But yeah, I definitely would like to listen to their earlier stuff to see what that's like. And the last thing that he sent me, anyone that saw the community tab will see this. It's the Benediction box set, and I was absolutely made up. And in a way, I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't do an unboxing for this because I was absolutely made up when I saw this. Yeah, I hadn't actually listened to that much Benediction apart from bits of the latest one that they did. So this was really cool to see this. And yeah, this come out in 2018, and it's the Nuclear Blast recordings. So it's got all their albums that they did on Nuclear Blast, apart from one, and I don't know why, but there was one in the middle that they forgot. I don't know, or I don't know. Maybe that album's really bad that they just didn't bother putting it in with this box set. So yeah, you've got the first 3, and then the other 3 before they did Scriptures, obviously. So yeah, I'm just gonna briefly talk about all these albums. So we're gonna start off with Subconscious Terror, because that's their debut album, and that ironically had Barney Greenway of Napalm Death on it, which I didn't know at the time. It kind of had that like death metal-y Napalm Death kind of sound. It was quite punky. It had little bits of like early Death in there as well. I thought it was pretty cool. I quite enjoyed it. The second album is called The Grand Leveler, and that was the first one with Dave Ingram, and I really liked that one. It had that kind of bolt thrower, obituary kind of groove in there. Had that fast-paced sounding death metal as well at times. Yeah, I thought it was really, really cool, that album. Then you've got Transcend the Rubicon from 1993, and that was my favourite out of all the Benediction ones. That one was my favourite because it had really great production. I felt like that the band really found their sound on that album. Heavy as hell. I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, one thing I didn't realise about the band is how much of a punky sound they had. That really took me by surprise, but I really liked that they had the kind of punky, kind of hardcore kind of thing going on. Yeah, and then it was supposed to have been The Dreams You Dread, but for some reason it's not in here, but whatever. I'll have to listen to that one. And then after that you've got Grind Bastard from 1998, and that one it sounded like that they changed up their sound a little bit. It kind of was a little bit more groovy, a little bit less death metal. I kind of feel like they wanted to try that death and roll kind of thing at the time. They done a load of covers that just did not work. And yeah, I remember something that James Mr. Boulder says, if you've got more than one cover on your album, then you're in trouble. And they had 3. They had one Judas Priest cover, which was awful. And I hate Judas Priest anyway, but it was terrible. And then they did a Twisted Sister cover, which was a bit better, but still, that one wasn't that was my least favourite of these 6, to be honest. And then it's Organised Chaos, and that's the first one with Dave Hunt on the vocals. And I really enjoyed that album. I liked how punky and groovy it was. And it felt like to me that was like a better version of Grind Bastard. No covers for a start, which is good. Yeah, I really like that one. And then the last one in here is Killing Music, and that's the last one with Dave Hunt. And I thought that one was even better. It was basically like a better version of the previous albums. Really liked the energy on it, and I loved the drum sound. I thought the drum sound was very loud. It was, you know, I liked the production on it because it sounded like he was playing in the actual room with you. I really liked that. It was really loud. You could hear everything that he was doing, and yeah, it sounded great. And yeah, really awesome box set. I'm really happy to have this. So that was this latest CD update. I know it was a pretty long one. I wanted to try and get through everything as fast as I could, but also give you the information and my thoughts as well. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on any of the albums that I've shown today. And also, one more time, massive thanks to Dave and Simon for sending me all this stuff. I really, really appreciate it, and it's all great stuff that I'll probably keep, apart from the Godflesh one. And yeah, speaking of Simon, yeah, I hope he's doing alright, and he's literally, when I'm filming this, a couple of days ago, sent me another little box of stuff. So when I've finished making this video, I'm going to do a little unboxing video, and that'll be coming up next on the channel, so keep a lookout for that. And yeah, if you got this far, thanks ever so much for watching. Until the next time, keep it metal.